What are the worst, most unreliable luxury SUVs that you should avoid? That's what we're going to find out. Welcome to Car Help Corner, where we help you, the consumer, master the process of car buying and car ownership. Most modern luxury SUVs are pretty impressive when it comes to their design, performance, and technology. As nice as they may seem though, there are plenty of luxury SUVs that are not the safest choice for long-term ownership. There are many that are just overpriced, offer poor value for money, have spotty reputations for long-term reliability, and have poor resale value too. So if you want to know what are some of the worst luxury SUVs that are best to stay away from, then make sure to stick around until the end of this video. Let's get this list started with my number 10 pick, which is the Volvo XC90. Now, Volvo has long been known for making very safe and generally well-designed luxury SUVs. That being said, over the last few years, the brand hasn't exactly had the best reputation when it comes to the reliability of their vehicles. The XC90 seems to be the worst one in the lineup, with a poor reputation for reliability from owners, mechanics, and reputable organizations like Consumer Reports, which ranks it as one of the worst SUVs that you can buy. The XC90's poor reputation for reliability has a lot to do with its overuse of complicated technology and drivetrains. Now, one of the attractions to the XC90 is that you can get it as a plug-in hybrid, which is pretty nice to see. That being said, the plug-in hybrid doesn't have a very good electric range, it's not that fuel efficient in hybrid mode, and it's also very expensive to buy too. When you combine that high price tag with a spotty reputation for reliability and not very good resale value, it becomes pretty hard to recommend the XC90 over other luxury 3-row SUVs. For less money, you could buy something like the Genesis GV80 or the Acura MDX, both of which would be a much safer choice. Moving on to number 9 on the list, we have the Jeep Grand Cherokee. Earlier this year, I test drove the 2022 Grand Cherokee and actually found it to be a very impressive luxury SUV. It has a very luxurious interior with lots of advanced features and technology. It gives you a choice between either a V6 or a V8 engine with lots of power that's very well suited to towing. And it's also very capable with lots of advanced hardware that makes it a very capable off-road SUV. But having said all of that, there are a few reasons why the Grand Cherokee is not the safest choice for long-term ownership. The Grand Cherokee tops out around $80,000 to $90,000, which is a lot of money for a Jeep. It also doesn't have the best reputation for long-term reliability either. Although you can find plenty of happy Grand Cherokee owners, you can find just as many unhappy ones that have had non-stop expensive repair issues. And because they're so expensive and have a spotty reputation for reliability, they don't have very good resale value when compared to some other luxury SUVs. If you're willing to give up the Jeep image, the V8 engine, and the off-road capability, you'd be much safer buying something like the Lexus RX 350 instead. And moving on to number 8 on the list, we have the Alfa Romeo Stelvio. The Stelvio was part of Alfa Romeo's comeback to the North American market. But aside from its sharp looks and its sporty driving feel, there just aren't that many reasons to consider one. Like many European luxury brands, Alfa Romeo just doesn't have a great reputation for long-term reliability in North America. They can be very problematic and expensive to repair out of warranty, and when you combine that with Alfa Romeo's very limited dealer network across North America, it just doesn't make a lot of sense to buy one. Now, you might think that you'd be safer to lease a Stelvio as opposed to buying one, but because the brand doesn't have very good resale value, it doesn't have very good lease deals in most regions either. So even though it is a very attractive looking SUV, just remember, looks can definitely be deceiving. So let's move on to number 7 on the list, which is the Cadillac Escalade. Now, even though Cadillac did a pretty impressive job with the redesigned Escalade when it comes to its design and technology, there are a few important reasons why it might not make sense to buy one. First of all, the Escalade is built on the exact same platform as both the Chevy Tahoe and GMC Yukon. And the issue with that is that there's just not a lot extra that you get with the Escalade, aside from the unique design and maybe a few features that you don't also get with the Tahoe and Yukon for a lot less money. Both the Tahoe and Yukon offer the exact same driving experience, the same drivetrains, and most of the same features for around $20,000 to $30,000 less, making the Escalade look pretty overpriced. And not only is the Escalade a poor value, but it also seems to have the worst reliability and resale value of the bunch too. For example, all three of these SUVs are known for a very serious lifter issue on the V8 engines, which can lead to a complete top-end engine replacement. And because the Escalade generally has more advanced technology and tech than the other two SUVs, it's generally known for more electronic issues too. So if you like the idea of buying a full-size luxury SUV like the Escalade, you'd be much safer buying something with a better reputation for reliability, like the Lexus LX instead. And moving on to number 6 on the list, we have the Lincoln Aviator. Compared to the other SUVs on this list, the Aviator is a relatively new SUV, being introduced to the market back in 2020. Although it is an attractive looking SUV with a spacious and luxurious interior, there are a few reasons why you might want to consider buying something else instead. For one thing, Lincoln isn't exactly known for making the most reliable vehicles. In fact, the brand came at the very bottom of the list on Consumer Reports' annual reliability study. And much of that, unfortunately, had a lot to do with the Aviator, which shares a lot of the exact same parts and the same platform as the Ford Explorer, which was one of the lowest ranked models on the Consumer Reports list for reliability. These SUVs are known for various electronic problems, issues with the twin-turbo V6 and the 10-speed automatic transmission, which has been a huge source of complaint. And like the Volvo XC90, even though the Aviator is offered as a plug-in hybrid, it's not very efficient, has a pretty poor electric range, and is extremely expensive too. And like the other brands on this list, Lincolns are not known for their resale value, so you will lose a lot of money over time. Bottom line, there are just safer options out there if you're looking for a luxury 3-row SUV, including both the Acura MDX and the Infiniti QX60. But whatever you do, don't gravitate towards something like number 5 on this list, which is the BMW X5. Even though the X5 is a very well-designed SUV when it comes to its performance and luxury, like many European brands in North America, it just doesn't have a great reputation when it comes to reliability and ownership costs. Although they are fine to lease for 3 to 4 years, owning one beyond the warranty period can turn into a financial disaster. The potential problems that can go wrong as they age are seemingly endless, and almost anything that goes wrong can easily cost 4 figures or more. The most problematic versions of the X5 are those that come with the twin-turbo V8 engine, although the other engines are not exactly exempt either. The reality is that all BMWs can become expensive money pits out of warranty, and they're just not the best choice for those who can't tolerate expensive repairs. But the X5, and to a certain extent the X6 and X7 too, really take the cake because they are the most expensive and most complicated SUVs in the BMW lineup. Poor reliability, high repair costs, and low resale value are all pretty typical of European luxury brands in North America. And the same could definitely be said at number 4 on the list, which is the Mercedes-GLE. Many of the long-term ownership concerns that apply to the X5 could also be applied to the Mercedes-GLE. This is a very expensive SUV to repair out of warranty, with pretty poor reliability coming at the very bottom of Consumer Reports' annual reliability study. And because of that reputation for reliability and high repair costs, the GLE doesn't have very good resale value when compared to some other luxury brands. Now, a lot of these concerns can definitely be applied to the other models in the Mercedes lineup. The GLE, however, is a higher risk because of its more complicated design, having more advanced technology, and having a much higher price tag than something like, say, a GLA or a GLB. The bottom line is that the German luxury brands, including BMW, Mercedes, and even Audi, just don't have a great reputation for long-term reliability and low ownership costs in North America. So if you're considering buying one of these SUVs, the safest way to do so is to lease one for 3 to 4 years and then give it back. But German luxury brands are not the only ones that are best avoided for long-term ownership. The same could also be said at number 3 on the list, which is the Jaguar FPACE. Unlike BMW, Mercedes, and Audi, which tend to develop the majority of their issues beyond the warranty period, Jaguars tend to be pretty problematic from the onset. The FPACE just doesn't have a good reputation for reliability, and like the other European brands, they can be extremely expensive to repair long-term. And unfortunately for Jag, their cars have some of the lowest resale values on the market too, which means that you're going to lose a ton of money to depreciation when compared to other luxury brands. The FPACE just doesn't have a lot going for it to consider it over other luxury SUVs, but at least it's not as expensive as number 2 on the list, which is the Maserati Levante. Aside from that Maserati badge and a pretty striking design, there's just not a whole lot going for it. The interior does have some nice finishes, but you can definitely tell where Maserati cut corners, and it just doesn't live up to the price tag. And like the other European brand SUVs on this list, the Levante just doesn't have good prospects when it comes to long-term reliability, repair costs, or resale value either. And finally, that brings us to number 1 on the list, which is the Land Rover Range Rover. The Range Rover easily takes the number 1 spot of one of the worst luxury SUVs that you can buy. Yes, when it comes to image, luxury, and off-road capability, the Range Rover definitely delivers. But in almost every other regard, it's just way too difficult to recommend one of these for any type of purchase. Range Rovers are pretty well known for their poor reputation for long-term reliability and extremely high repair costs. Almost anything that goes wrong with these SUVs is easily going to cost 4 figures or more to repair. And believe me, the longer you hold on to one, the more things will definitely go wrong. Anything from the electronics to the suspension to the engine and almost anything else, nothing is off limits on a Range Rover. And when you combine that reputation for reliability with very low resale value, it just doesn't make any sense to buy a Range Rover over a comparable luxury SUV like, say, a Mercedes G-Wagon or a Lexus LX. At least with those SUVs, your money is better protected, instead of just going down the drain like it will with the Range Rover. So there you have it, the list of the worst luxury SUVs that you can buy. Let me know what you thought of this video, and if you have any suggestions for any future car videos, just leave a comment below. And if you enjoyed this video, make sure to like and subscribe. You can also take a look at some of my other car videos by checking out these links over here. Make sure to follow me on TikTok and Instagram, and if you need any additional car buying advice, recommendations, or help with getting a great deal on your next new car purchase, make sure to check out carhelpcanada.com. Thanks so much for watching, and see you next time.